All right. So tonight, we're going to do a showcase, and I did get quite a few photos, and I even got one video. So I think we'll start with what I've received, and then I know a few of you are ready to present some of your work from your end as well. So I'm not sure how many we're going to have total, but we'll go ahead and get started. Let me see what I've got here. Okay, the first person that sent anything was Bob McCall, and you probably remember Bob sent in that racing tire on the axle. It was all mounted. It was dedicated to a friend, which kicked off our first show and tell, and it was awesome. Really enjoyed that presentation from Bob. He'd put it in video. So he sent me a couple of photos that he's just been working on lately. And this one is, I guess in their town has Ann and Bob, are you in there? What is the population of your town?
Well, the population is about 110, something like that. But we're rather unique because we are incorporated. That means we have our own city government, our own rules and regulations, and we do have a post office. And their little sign got pretty bad, so I thought I'd make a new one. This one here that you got pictured, it's 8 foot long, 30 inches wide. And what I made that out of was some edge glued countertop. It was my first time at doing tiling. And I was really impressed with the way that it turned out. So I painted it and then pocketed it, and then put a clear coat over the top of it so it would probably last. But it was a fun deal to do.
So how big is your machine? Is your CNC?
It's a 3x5.
Okay, so you got an 8 foot sign, so hence the tiling, right?
Yeah, so I done cut it in half, or a little more than half, because I wanted to tile the line to come between the letters so that there wasn't a half a letter in one tile and a half in another.
Yeah, maybe between the M and the B down in Cambria, huh?
Exactly.
That's awesome. So did you set a fence on it and then mark it and slide it to the mark, run off a fence, or how exactly did you reposition it when you tiled it?
Yes, I had a fence on the X, and then I just put a mark on the board, measured it off. I think it was like 51¼ inches, and put a mark there. And then my offset was a 1/16 of an inch. So then when I just slid it forward, I repositioned and started at that mark.
Awesome. And that worked out well, obviously. And was that your first attempt at tiling?
Pretty much. I done one other little project, but it was not anything this big, of course.
That's awesome.
But it did turn out pretty good with the tiling, and I thought it went very well.
This was an interesting piece. Tell us about this one, Bob.
Well, my wife likes to quilt, and in a little quilt shop where we go all the time, is the name of it. There's No Place Like Home Quilt Shop. And I done a little plaque for my wife that says she works with her hands in delight. And I showed that to the lady that run the quilt shop, and she was really taken with it. So I told my wife, I said, well, I'll make her one. And so I was looking around through my junk, and I found this cupboard door that I buy them sometimes at the garage sale. You can get a a dozen of them for a couple bucks because they've taken them off. Some of them are not in too good a shape, but this one looked pretty good. And so I just took the hardware off of it so it would lay flat and cut this image and everything in it. And then I put the hardware and everything back on it, and then give it a clear coat again. And took it up yesterday and gave it to her. And I thought she was going to have a nervous breakdown and was crying. She thought it was so neat. So awesome. I said that means a lot to me when I see a smile on someone's face. It's worth doing.
How is the carving in the oak?
Pardon?
It looks like it's an oak door. Carve okay in the oak?
Yeah. It carved really well. Of course, you know, oak is pretty porous, but it carved out really well. By the time we got home from up there, it's about 20 miles up to where we go to this little shop. By the time we got home, she sent us a picture and she already had it put up.
Oh, awesome. Okay, this next one I'm going to show you actually is sent in from Dante Grasse. And Dante has used CNC since the, I don't know how many years. He's probably one of the very first CNC owners in cabinet making in the United States. But he's always done sheet processing and cabinets and things like that. And so for him to start learning Aspire was a pretty big step. And he actually called me up one day and asked me if I would program this for him. And I said, yeah, I'll help you out, but it's going to take a while because I don't have a lot of time. And so he got impatient with me and just decided to do it himself. So this is his very first modeling job in Aspire, which I think is pretty awesome. So I don't know if Dante, I don't think he has a camera or maybe not even a microphone on his computer. So if you're in here, congratulations, Dante. It's awesome. Okay, this is Jared Willoughby. So this is a pretty intense 3D carving here.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of detail, a lot of depth to that. That's pretty amazing. Okay. Jared, if you're here and you want to jump in and tell us about it, if anybody has any questions, jump in here on this as well. This is awesome.
I took.
All right. Anyway, he sent me an email with some of the pictures of the flags and some of the things he's done. Anyway, I would like to ask him about this. I think this is built by separate elements and combined into one. Here's another one. Twisted spur saloon. And this is looks like a 223 auto loader. I've got one of these. One of our other customers built one. I bought it from them. I thought it was awesome because otherwise I have to sit and load by hand one bullet at a time. Those are awesome. All right, let's go to the next one. This next one's actually a video. There we go. So it's called the Aurora, and the guy that invented it is a German craftsman, Christopher. I'm not even sure how to pronounce his last name. Blasius, Blasius or something like that. Anyway, I'll just throw this text up here so you can see what he wrote about it. It says the attached video is a dynamic sculpture named Aurora. It's 36 inches in diameter. It is powered by a wound spring that can run for approximately 4 hours. All parts were machined on a China 6040 CNC owned by the village's Woodworkers Club. The club now owns a Maverick 305. It is set in place in our second 10,000 square foot shop awaiting completion. The plans come from a German craftsman, Christopher, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Blasius. And he has a website, HOLZMECHANIK, holzmechanic.de. $50 for the plans. Pretty awesome. And that's by Lowe Sunderman. So, Lowe, are you in here? Yeah, there you are.
Okay. Yeah.
So how long did it take to make?
Oh, I did it over several days. It was a trainer for our club down here, and this was kind of a challenge for it. The key thing for this was that everything has to be exactly the same size so that it's balanced. Otherwise, it won't spin right. And then the pawls and the star in the middle that reverses the wings are need all to be very close tolerances. So everything just needs to be built well. And it's certainly not my design. I programmed it. He gave me the DXF files, and I put them on multiple pieces on sheets that would fit in our little machine, and cut it out, and it works. Just a little bit about me. I'm down here in Florida, the 80-degree guy, and we are a woodworking club in a community of 130,000 retirees. And we have now our second club has been built, and we will be moving into it hopefully by May. And one of the things that I'm so proud of, all of us have gray hair basically, and the leadership decided that let's give this new technology a try. They asked me to lead that up. I was happy to do that. And we put in place some rules and training and things to make it work. And the club got excited about it and was willing to front the money for the legacy. And we're going to have fun with that. That's one of our next steps. We've been kind of like insider spies or whatever. A number of us have been watching these classes. I remember going back to when Tracy was using, I think it was TurboCAD to do your drawings.
Yeah.
So that's back a little bit at least. But we've been watching all this for quite a while. So we're actually pretty much ready to go. And I see several of our members of my fellow team members are on board. I can see their names. So that's kind of what it is. This was a fun project and it hangs in our house.
Awesome. Well, one of these cold winter days, I need to schedule a trip out and do a demonstration for your club or something.
You're welcome. You're always welcome. And we're enjoying, just so you know, we're enjoying our relationship with our associate, Terry Ikatis.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's a swell guy, and he's going to help us get up and running as well.
All righty.
The website again for this device?
Yeah, let me bring that back up. HOLZMECHANIK.de.
There are a number of different dynamic sculptures. You can take your pick of, a dozen or more different type of things. There's clocks and there's other things as well. But there's at least 6 or so dynamic sculptures.
That's pretty amazing. It's really amazing. It'll run for 4 hours. That's crazy.
Tracy, run it again. Run that so it'll turn again.
Okay.
I actually thought the video was better quality than what it was. I just grabbed it today. But there's little pawls in the center that release this energy in the spring when they get rocked open, I guess you'd say. And then it takes the spring out of the system again, and just working on inertia to spin it until a pawl comes back around and clicks. If we had sound, you'd be hearing clicks every time that it releases the spring.
So how do you wind it?
Kind of slowly, but you just you hold the front set of wings and slowly turn the back ones, and then it takes a little while if you're especially going to wind it all the way up.
That's awesome. I know Chris here has wanted to do one of these projects for some time, and he's shown me several. I was pretty excited about, but we haven't had much time recently to do a project, which we're going to change, by the way. We're going to start to introducing some more projects, especially for the Wednesday night classes, so we can get back into that. All right. Well, that's great. Thanks, Lo. All right, this next one is Milo Scott. And so his inspiration here was this kind of worn, tattered flag. So he says this is just a bunch of oak scrap left around in the shop. So he glues it up and then cuts it into end grain and glues it up again. So this is all end grain. And then starts the modeling. This is the rough pass with the end mill. And then goes to the finish and creates the tattered flag with the waves in it. That's awesome. Milo, are you here? Are you in here tonight?
Yeah,
So how long does this take to carve?
it was about 3 hours.
Well, that's not bad. How big is it?
Right there is 16 by 26.
Oh, that is amazing. So how does this end grain oak, that you didn't have any problems with burning, obviously.
There was nothing that was a problem with it. It was 1/4-inch ball nose to do the wave,
Uh-huh.
and then 90-degree bits for the rest of it. And there wasn't one piece of chip out.
That's pretty cool. Okay, just for fun, because everybody always asks, what were your feeds and speeds?
160 inches a minute, I think it was around 16,000, somewhere in there.
With a 1/4-inch ball nose.
Yeah,
What machine?
3x5, Gen 1.
And what's the advantage of going with end grain instead of long grain?
End grain, the fibers are sticking straight up, so there's a lot more support than side grain. Side grain, if you get down to a real sharp point, like down in his legs, it would have a tendency to snap off. Whereas with the end grain, there was absolutely no tear out anywhere in the entire thing.
Got it.
I think the end grain is an awesome look too. I love that look.
Yeah, it gives a nice effect throughout the picture.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah, the biggest thing that there's no way that I could have aligned everything up, so I just decided it was going to be completely random.
I like it. That's awesome.
Really an
How
awesome
thick-
piece, yeah.
How thick
Yeah,
is that?
The finish was or the lower portions were a glaze. It was a Van Dyke brown glaze and went in super easy. I'll bet you there wasn't a thimble full of colorant in this whole thing. You just filled up the base with just rough brushing it in, wiped the surface off with a paper towel because the surface already had a poly finish on it. Nothing to it. It was super easy.
Awesome.
How thick is that?
Yeah, the thickness here.
The thinnest part there in the bottom is 3/8 of an inch, and the thickest is 1.7.
Awesome. That is nice work.
So, Milo, did you put the poly on first?
Yes. I did find out that you have to seal the backside because the finish went all the way through 1 3/4 inches, and it just kept on going. And after I milled this top surface, it was actually dripping through on the table at the inch or at 1.7 inches. So I finally sealed the back with a grain sealer, and then it immediately filled up the pores.
That's so cool.
So did you model this by trying to follow that picture, or was just picture inspiration and then you kind of freehanded it or whatever?
No, I modeled it off of that, and I already had the Minuteman I had that back in Corel Draw days from, I'll bet you 20 years ago. And then the lettering, I modeled that here a while ago because you can't really, I haven't found a font for that one. So you just had to, trace it.
Hey, Milo, I found the vectors for We the People. There's a place I got vectors. They were actually free vectors for We the People. In that font that you see all the time. I could send it to you if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great. The thing about the original We the People that I'd seen, the hash marks were real thin. So I made them a little bit heavier just to make them stand out somewhat.
Did you do the stars with the ball nose as well? I know some people use a V-bit. Just curious.
Yeah, the only thing that was done with the ball nose was the shape of the surface of the flag. Everything else that you see in dark was either a 90 or a 60-degree V-bit.
So it looks like this clearance in these pockets is still done with the V-bit, so it gives you that texture. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, if you do a engraving bit where you enter in the flat portion of the tip, a V-bit assumes that it's comes down to a pinpoint. An engraving bit, this one had 15 thousandths on it, and so I did a 90-degree or a 90% step over, and it actually cleared it out pretty quick.
Where'd you get the Minuteman emblem?
I drew that up probably 20 years ago.
You drew it?
Yeah, and it's been out. There's some other ones that are out there now, because this one is pretty common. I think there's 3 different ones.
Yeah, I was a member of the National Guard back in the 80s in Illinois, and that's our logo back there.
That's where it came from. Is I did a vinyl sign for one of their get-togethers, and that Minuteman was, I think, 4 foot high.
Pretty detailed then, yeah. That's nice.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised how the V-bit, even the buttons on the bottom of his coat, the detail came out extremely well. And the like I said, if it was side grain, I'm afraid some of the wrinkles in his pants would have broke out. But with that end grain, it got real fine in there.
That is so cool. Give me something I want to try now. Okay.
What size are the squares on your end grain?
Whatever was leaning up against the wall.
Aren't they the same size after you cut them down, or there's multiple?
No, these were all just scraps, and I just started gluing stuff together. Now the thickness, well, it was whatever it would sand down to and be one consistent thickness. Even the layers were varied. I had some thick, some thin, and I was bound and determined I wasn't even going to attempt to line them up. And so that's why I liked just the total random portion of it.
Yeah, that is nice. Like always, Milo, nice work. All right. Now this next one is Tim DeCourt, and didn't send a lot of information, just photos. But so Tim, if you're in here, you can jump in. But it looks like you were reproducing this sign. They wanted to rebuild it.
Yes. Hi. Yeah, this is about an 8-foot sign, so that's all I had to work with on the drawing. So it was kind of interesting to try to get all the detail right. So
You just worked off a photograph completely.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's it's coming together after you've carved it.
Yeah, and that blue on there, the reason I shared this is, I don't know if you might have picked up on it on the World Vectrix World thing where they had people talking. There was a guy from Tools for Today, and that material is a masking. So this blank was painted all white with spray paint, just with kills and then spray paint, let it cure, and then put this masking on. And then I could just cut through it, and you'll see the other colors that are involved. That's where the staining and the painting came out. So the white and the black and the red were hand painted, or everything was stained, and then those were hand painted, and then we just pulled the masking off the white, and it was already done. the lettering. So it's a product called Aurora Mask, Aurora Mask, ORAMASK 813. You can get it on Amazon or Tools.
We have a couple members that have done some pretty awesome stuff using that same technique. That looks great.
Do you mask the entire piece?
Yes. Yeah, it's a 12-inch wide sheet or, kind of material. You peel it off, and it takes a little bit of work to figure out how to get it on without bubbles. Lulz probably see that. But yeah, once you get that on there, man, it's on there, and the stain doesn't climb up underneath it too bad. So it's pretty handy.
Awesome. Nice work.
I did 3 of those before Christmas, and then I've got 3 more to do next week. So all that drawing was amortized into that. It was a lot. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the text, then you just created the text with vectors?
I think I used the trans, or what do you call it? The tracing feature in Aspire.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was an awful lot of work because I had to kernel the lower letters and widen them out, or I couldn't get a 1/8-inch end mill in between them. Right. And you can't really see it on this one, but I was having trouble getting my pocketing right on around the letters, because I used right there. I used a 1/2 inch and then a 1/4 inch and then an 1/8 inch, and they all didn't end up at the same elevation. So they're close. I could work with them, but I need to figure that out. And then I just textured behind the sheep there to make it look a little more hand carved. So
let's see what else we have here. Okay, well, I've got one other one that I'd like to show, but I'll wait see if there's anybody else. I know some people had mentioned they have some stuff ready for tonight. So if you have some photos or video you want to share, why don't you jump in here and I'll let you give you control of the screen.
Yeah, I don't have any photos, but I do have a lithophane that I made that I'd like to show.
Hey, did you try to share your screen, Alvin, or you're not sharing your screen? That's right, you're just doing it on camera. Okay, so I'll ask the questions, and anybody else can ask questions, and then you can answer, and it'll show it back up again. My question is it backlit, and what is the material, and what is the size?
The size is 8x10. The material is Corian. I actually bought a 1/2 inch thick Corian chopping block from Menards. It's selling for $10. And then I took a picture that we took actually when we came back from picking up the Maverick. We went through South Dakota and stopped at Mount Rushmore, and I took a picture and was able to do this lithophane. It's the first one I've done. I've never done one before, so I tried it as a thing for my wife's birthday.
And it looks like there's a wire behind it. Is it backlit? Can you backlight it?
Yes, it is backlit.
Oh, it can't. Oh, there it's coming a little bit. It's kind of washing out the picture, but there we go.
Is it too bright?
Yeah, it's a little bright. Oh, there you go. That's better. Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I looked at the works that you did when we were up in training over there in Utah. And I just thought I would try this, and the detail just blows me away. I did the program on that, and then I also ran a program to make this frame. So I've got, with the LED lights, $50 in materials in this thing, about 3 hours to run it.
Oh, cool.
Alvin, can you explain how that light is mounted, or is it at the bottom? Is there a slot or something?
Yes, what I did was the frame has a 1/2 inch slot around the perimeter of it to house the Corian, and then there is a space, and then there's a 1/4 inch slot in the back for a 1/4 inch backplate. And then I actually took LED strip lights, and I took those LED strip lights, and then I boarded them all the way around the perimeter of it, and then on the bottom where the wiring comes out, I just hot melt glue in here, and that's how it works out.
Cool, thank you.
Nice. Okay.
The undo button.
Okay, I wanted to kind of share this tonight. This used to be on our website in a class in videos, but it got, of course, taken down with YouTube. And I've had some questions about it, so I thought I'd kind of share it with you tonight and see if there's any questions I can show you. This is a box. It's a bowl, if you will. It's a square bowl that I built with some modeling on it. So I'll just kind of flash through here and show you. You can see that the lid here comes off, and it's actually threaded inside here on that lid. And here you can see that it, as it dishes underneath, I think I've got a better, yeah, right here. So you can see it dishes down underneath here like so. This is actually made of 5 pieces of wood. The base part right here is one model. And then this flat part right here is a separate piece of wood. And the next time I do this, I'm going to do that out of ebony so that it's black. It'll stand out more. I used walnut against this other, and I thought I'd get more of a difference in the color, but they came out pretty close the same. And then the lid is actually walnut as well to match that piece here. And of course, I took this out on trade shows and different places, and it got beat to pieces. So I broke off my little handle right here, and I chipped this up. So next time I build one, I think I'm just going to put it in the display case and quit playing with it. And here you can see when you take the lid off, and there's the threads. And the threads are actually recessed down inside here farther so that when you thread the lid on, it will go flush with the surface. So the threads are down in the bottom of that. So this was kind of a fun project. It was one of the first projects I did using the threading technique in conversational CAM. Okay, any questions on that? Cool. Okay. Well, I think we're done. I think we're wrapped up. All right. Thanks, everybody.